Thank you everyone for joining us at the BioOne Connect Partner Showcase. In the spring of this year, BioOne launched a new initiative to support our publishing partners through a program called BioOne Connect. Oftentimes, I will get questions from our publishers about workflow services and related publishing systems that are not provided by the BioOne Digital Library, or I'll be asked for guidance on who to turn to for assistance. So I'm so happy that we now have a marketplace of 6 vetted companies providing unique services specific to the needs of small society independent publishers. And there are many things that these organizations can do that I'm excited to tell you about. And I thought the best way to show you is to connect you directly with our BioOne Connect partners. Before I turn it over to our presenters, I will add that we are recording this webinar for anyone who could not attend, and we will be sharing the presenters' slides with you as well afterwards, so no need to take screenshots and that kind of thing. We'll also, please feel free to add your questions to the chat as we go, and we'll be sure to get to those at the end when we get to the Q&A. And with that, I will hand it over to our first presenter, Paul Kaloran of Ordo.
Thanks very much, Meredith. Great to be here. Hello to everybody watching in. I'm just going to tee it up here and you will very soon see my screen. So hopefully all you can see my screen there. My name is Paul Kaloran. I'm the founder and CEO of Ordo. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I'd like to begin my short presentation tonight by showing you Exhibit A. So you might be wondering what in the name of God this is. This artifact is essentially the reason that I've committed myself to conference management workflows. So this is the paper that I submitted to an IEEE conference. The story that goes behind it is I hacked the system to get the paper in. It was subsequently published at this conference in 2005. And to this day, it remains an IEEE Explorer. Don't tell them that. It's okay. I've told them many times. But this, for me, was my first experience with scholarly conferences. And I said, there has to be a better way. And I suppose it is from that moment that I effectively committed my professional career to building software for scholarly conference community. And essentially that we believe that scholars, some of the greatest minds on the planet, that they deserve exceptional software. And right now we're focused on conferences. And so it is our belief and our commitment to this community that we will develop exceptional conference software. I suppose just who are we? Some of you might be the first time you've heard of Ordo, for others you'll be well familiar with us. We've been working with society since 2012. I myself published that paper in 2005 and then slowly but surely started working through academia and scholarly communities. But eventually in 2012, we launched the first version of Ordo and we've been growing ever since. What we provide today is an end-to-end conference management platform built specifically for scholarly societies. There are many other event platforms out there. I'm sure you're aware, you may even be using them. And what we have decided is that we realize that given the quality of software, particularly in the workflow space, was far underperforming and subpar really, that this is where we've committed ourselves. In the time since I started the company, we've organized nearly 2,500 conferences and we've well over 500,000 researchers within our platform. So that's a little bit about who we are. I suppose in terms of our day-to-day, how do we add value? And I'll show you some of the screenshots in a moment, but we really have 3 guiding principles about how we develop our product. And the first is that we are absolutely laser focused on only adding features that save time or save you stress, because we understand that that is the main way that we can help you with value. Many of the people in your event organizations are probably tearing their hair out. They're probably trying to run multiple events with the limited staff and tools that frankly aren't built for purpose, which results in lots of workarounds and so forth. So we're really, really focused on saving time and eliminating that stress, particularly as we get close to the event, which is a very, very stressful time. The second thing is through integrations, right? We live in an ecosystem, everything connects together. We don't need more data silos. We don't need copy and pasting. We don't need more workarounds. Excel sheets are wonderful, but they don't have a place here if we can avoid it. And so that's the second place that we add value, is by plugging into all the various other systems, particularly in the scholarly ecosystem, which is unique to ourselves. And then the last one, which always brings a smile to my heart, because I believe in service. My DNA is in service and service to others. And one of the things that we are very well known for is the quality of customer support that we deliver to our customers. Again, when you're running an event, when your reputation is on the line, when you have, the day before the event and your program isn't working, that's when you need incredible customer support, and that's what we provide, because that's what our customers want. So that's the three ways that we focus on adding value. And what I'll do now is I'll show you very, very quickly some of the product right after I sort of very quickly show you some of our customers. So some names you'll recognize there, some smaller ones as well. We provide a product right across some of the biggest societies, right down to some of the smaller ones. And we have a number of BioOne publishers as customers with us. And we have a case study that we're working on that we'll be sharing shortly. So there's some of our customers. In terms of what the product looks like and what it does, as I said from the outset, it is an end-to-end conference management solution. So we'll begin by sending out our call for papers and inviting people to submit their abstracts or their papers or extended abstracts or whatever you might be. Lots of configuration around this. I won't get into it right now. Everything from topics, themes, tracks that you might have, configuration around authors, custom questions, anything like that you need. So the system can manage that and help you to collect all those submissions. Once you collect the submissions, the next phase is to move on in a scholarly workflow would be on review. And so you can invite your reviewers, they can sign in, choose their topics, we can assign them. We have an automated algorithm for doing that. You can then jump in. If you look on the left-hand side, you'll see how I can individually assign reviewers to particular papers. I can set up the marking scheme as shown by the screen on the right-hand side, and right in the middle is what we call our reviewer card, and that's the summary of the review that's been provided by the reviewer on this particular submission. So that's what it looks like. So we collect all of the reviews. Our system helps you to guide those. Sometimes it can feel like shepherding cats at times, but nonetheless, our tool helps you to converge on that eventful day when you've received all, if not all, of the important reviews anyway, and then you can move on to the next phase, which is the acceptance phase. So once you've got all those submissions in place, you can use our filtering and our funnel, as you see on the left-hand side, to focus in on the submissions that are completed review, and you can start making decisions. And once, of course, you make those decisions, you accept some people for maybe an oral presentation or a poster presentation or a lightning talk maybe, and of course you'll be declining some of those presentations as well. And so our tool will help you to notify those that are accepted and those that are rejected. Now that we've decided who's coming, the next bit, which is crucial to a conference, is that people register. And so we have a tool within our platform that allows people to register for the conference. And so again, you have a funnel, as you can see on the screen on my right-hand side, because at all times what we're trying to drive through is we're trying to get your attendees or your authors who have been accepted to make sure that they actually do go and register for your conference, because obviously your conference won't run unless you get the registration income that you need to balance the books and break even. So we have that, and of course we can take credit card payments through our partners like Stripe, or we can take bank transfers as well, depending on the needs of your conference. You can configure those things. You can add in workshops and social events and lots of different things that you need, and it'll provide a nice email receipt to anyone who actually does register. Of course, now that we have everyone registered to attend the conference, the next thing we want to do is schedule the event. And so many scholarly conferences can have multi-tracks. We can have up to 40 tracks, maybe 100 tracks, who knows. But you'll have a lot of submissions and you'll have breakout sessions. And so our tool is specifically designed for that, where you can create a session, you've got your accepted presentations, you can slot them all in, it pulls in all the titles, the abstracts, the author information, the presenter information, all that good stuff. And of course, if they upload any material like presentations or videos, as you can see on the left-hand side, it'll automatically populate them and create you a beautiful looking online event website that people can come along and browse in advance of the day and get a feel of what the conference is going to be like. So we help to do that. We've lots of little tools that I won't get into today, such as conflict checkers and ways that you can ensure that people aren't double booked and so forth, right across the conference. And then finally, for the actual day, when you're on the event and you're physically there, you might want to have a mobile app for all your attendees so they can browse all the content and network with each other and contact each other and so forth. And of course, it's a great way for getting sponsorship income as well, being able to highlight your sponsors and give some branded push notifications and some cover pages as well. So essentially end to end, that's essentially what we set out to do. When I wrote that fateful paper back in 2005, I didn't think I'd be sitting here in a webinar with you all showing you the end-to-end conference platform, but in doing so, I have arrived at this destination. So what's the next step? Get in touch. Would you like to see more? We have a 5-minute demo video that goes into a little bit more detail and shows you the actual product on the BioOne Connect webpage. You can have a look at that, or if you'd like to have a one-to-one demo with some of my staff, you can do that and reach out to me or reach out to our sales team, and we'll set that up. Usually takes about an hour or so, and we can go right in depth if you have specific questions and show you any aspect of the product. So that's it for me. I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Beautiful. I'm going to turn it over to Meredith Pond from Accucoms.
Thank you, Meredith. I'll just share my screen. Thank you. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Meredith Pond and I'm the Corporate Marketing Manager at Accucoms. I'd just like to take the next few minutes to go through some of the marketing services that we offer some of our academic and society publishers. So if you've not heard of Accucoms, we are a provider of sales and marketing services to society and professional publishers around the globe. Some of the services that we provide are sales representation, account management, marketing services, market research and telesales, conference representation, and customer service. As you can see, these are just some of the clients that we represent around the world. So talking to some of our publishers, we have found one of the key challenges for you is to reach new markets and to engage with a new cohort of researchers, authors, and librarians. We have spent the last 2 years creating a suite of marketing services to help you do just that. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes on this slide and go through some of the services that we can offer you as a publisher. So our author marketing program is specifically designed to target authors and researchers to increase submissions to your journals. Our international marketing program is all about brand awareness and increasing your journal's presence in various territories and regions that are important to you. One of our most popular services is our author webinars. So we can host a series of webinars, all in local languages, targeted at authors and researchers on how they can specifically submit into your journal and write a successful manuscript. And should you require, we do offer branding and design services, as well as social media management. Now, our global marketing team is very well versed in smart list building, and we also have a market research department that can offer services such as author surveys, gap analysis, and benchmarking. And should you have budget, we can also manage your Google ads for you. So by using some or all of these services that we offer, we can help to increase submissions to your journals. We can also enhance your brand's visibility and strengthen your journal's recognition in key territories and regions that are important to you. We can also make it easy for an author to submit to your journal in the form of the author webinars that we conduct to actually talk them through how to write a manuscript. So for any of these marketing services, we typically take a 3-phase approach. So phase 1 is all about fact-finding and information gathering. So we sometimes find that editorial goals are not always aligned with corporate goals. So we will have various meetings with key stakeholders to make sure that all your goals are aligned. We will also find out what criteria is important to your authors and librarians, as well as making sure anything that we designed is in line with your brand guidelines. You'll also be introduced to the wider Accucoms marketing team. Phase 2 would be phase 2 would be the development of a 12-month communications plan with all your goals and objectives in mind. And phase 3 would be implementation of this plan, which would include monthly reports and metrics, as well as bi-weekly meetings with your team. So how do we deliver all of this for you? So we know that, targeted marketing campaigns in the form of email and social media are important, but we also like to take a value-added approach. So we use various tools to do this, such as using the advanced search filters on LinkedIn, LinkedIn groups, and Sales Navigator. Our team also respond to real-world events to make sure that your resources are available to a particular community of authors if they need them. We know the importance of community engagement, not only to drive submissions to your journals, but also to make sure authors and librarians feel valued as well. So who are we and who is going to deliver all these projects for you? So we have a global team of 11 marketing professionals based in the UK, the Netherlands, India, Turkey, the United States, China, Mexico, and Brazil. Our wider Accucoms team speak over 20 different languages, so we can translate your marketing quickly and efficiently in all regions of the world. We will also provide a dedicated project manager so that you have one point of contact for each project that we undertake for you. So thank you for listening. Please do get in touch. I know there was a lot of information in some of the slides and there is so much that we could do. So I'd love to have a call with any of you and talk through some of the marketing options that we can offer you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pulvi. I'm going to turn it over now to Jason DeBoer from Kriyadocs.
Meredith, thanks so much. And let me just see if I can share my screen. Here we go. So thanks, Meredith, and thanks to everybody who's either joining us live on today's webinar or is watching the recording. I think along with the rest of the participants today, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. So let's hear a little about Kriyadocs, who we are and what we do. The first thing I want to say before I start getting into the details is that actually, I think we're very well aligned with BioOne in terms of their focus on independence and helping you as publishers to maintain your independence. We know there are pressures within scholarly communications sometimes to outsource what you're doing, go and partner with one of the big boys perhaps. We are also a truly independent technology provider headquartered in Chennai with a worldwide footprint. And here's our journey. Here's our history as a company. We've been around for 20 years supporting scholarly publishers. We started life, and legally we are still, Extra Media Services. These days we are branded as Kriyadocs, and Kriyadocs is also the name of our platform. So we started life as an offshore pre-press services provider, doing copy editing, production work for scholarly publishers. We really pivoted around 8 years ago to being a technology provider, realizing that technology could help remove a whole heap of redundancy in our internal processes, which at the time were post-acceptance, production work, but also by putting the platform in the hands of our customers, and I'll share some examples of our customers shortly, it could help them do things much more efficiently. So the Kriyadocs platform has evolved since 2016. A couple of years ago, we decided to move upstream into the sphere of submission and peer review, which is a very competitive, very complex environment. In terms of my background, 30 years in publishing, most recently working with Aries Systems, one of the old school vendors, if you like. But I think what Kriyadocs can bring to this is some really strong and deep project management expertise, understanding what has to happen at the end of the workflow in terms of the outputs that then go downstream to a hosting platform, really helps inform that journey in terms of what you have to do in submission and how you can more effectively manage the peer review process. So what I'm going to focus on today is our end-to-end platform. I will just mention another initiative we're working on called Pre-Submit. This is an environment in which authors can come together to collaborate on their work before they commit to a submission to a particular journal. It's particularly intended to help authors for whom English is not their native language, so authors perhaps in the global south, or authors who are at an early career stage, who may be making some rookie mistakes in their submissions, which could be regarded as potential malpractice, potential research integrity issues. Pre-Submit is also designed to shine a light on any obvious malpractice, so you can try and catch this early in the workflow. So I mentioned our customers and our community. We are eternally grateful to our community who have helped us to iterate and develop the platform. BMJ Group, you'll see mentioned there, along with a couple of other key names. We cover a broad spectrum of publishers in terms of their scope, their size, and their disciplines. So we work predominantly in STM, as most technology vendors do. We also support humanities and social sciences, and we work with journals and also with books. So why work with Kriyadocs? There are a lot of technology vendors out there. I mentioned our independence, but also the fact that we have an end-to-end publishing workflow, what we call a unified publishing ecosystem, as you can see here on this diagram. So you can use us end-to-end, right from submission through peer review, and then through into post-acceptance and production. And then at the end of that, we deliver the content to your hosting platform, to downstream indexing services, and we have the pre-submit environment I've just mentioned that can help augment this upstream. I think a couple of key differences. Fundamentally, we are XML first. So with that production expertise, when you get to the center of that worm, of that line, if you like, where you can see the Kriyadocs logo, that's a fully XML workflow. So we work with publishers to work on their structuring and tagging, style guides, house rules, templates, automated XML conversion, and then everything happens from that point forward. Copy editing, proofing by authors and editors, automated typesetting, so you don't need a typesetter as well at the end of the workflow. That's all driven by XML first processes. We are bringing that XML journey upstream right to the very outset. Strategically, that's what pre-submit is intended to do as well. So actually bringing XML upstream, it's a little technical, and often, smaller publishers, smaller journals will tend to think, well, why is it relevant? Just think of it in terms of helping flexibility, helping speed up processes and make your workflows more flexible. That's what we're focused on doing. Here's another key difference. Some of those older legacy platforms, you're round tripping content, often bundling it in a PDF with all the supplementary items, and then bouncing it between peer reviewers and editors to try and work through a decision which you track in an old-fashioned platform. We allow you to do the work in the platform, in the text. We convert all the submissions to HTML, Word, LaTeX, PDF, and then you can start to do inline granular editorial comments and peer review. So it gives real flexibility in terms of how you can work in terms of peer review and providing feedback on submitted content. We are obviously focused on integrating with third-party tools and services that you want to use within your workflows. It's critical to get those embedded in your workflow for peer review. That is the plumbing, the wiring of your system at the end of the day. So you can see some of the use cases here. I'm not going to read them all out, but hopefully you can see a broad spectrum of use cases around persistent identifiers, integration with funding platforms for APCs, finding reviewers, partnering. In fact, you can see one of the names on there you're going to hear from later, our friend Paul at Global Campus, an excellent tool, which I won't describe now. Paul can do that for you, but also integrity and openness, things like Authenticate, various downstream integrity checking tools, and then integrating with those platforms downstream. We do still offer services. So if you want a blended approach where you use our platform, but you ask Kriyadocs to provide some of those post-acceptance services for you, we can certainly do that. We are very community focused. Some of you may have heard about Publisher Speak. You may have received an invite from me in recent months as well. We run this twice a year, once in Washington, DC and in the UK. It's an opportunity for people to come together, to collaborate in groups with their peers, workshops facilitated by industry peers and colleagues, and we bring in insightful speakers from outside the community. So we had a talk a few weeks ago in DC from Carlos Alvarez Arañoz, who is co-founder of the American Sunlight Project, for example, talking about disinformation and truth in politics and media, but it clearly has some resonance for research integrity in our world as well. So we look to bring a fresh perspective, and the review and the event gets, very favorable feedback from people who participate. So finally, just to wrap this up, because I'm pretty sure my time is up, as other colleagues on the panel have mentioned, do please check out the BioOne Connect Partner Program website. You can see a link there to a video, websites and case studies from Kriyadocs. We would love to have a conversation with you if you're interested. Do please get in touch. My email address is on the screen there. I am Jason DeBoer, Growth Director with Kriyadocs. Look forward to hearing from you and hopefully helping support you. I should say, just to finish off as well, that we're already working with 2 or 3 Kriyadocs publishers. I'm not going to name them now, but since becoming part of this program earlier in the summer, we've had some great conversations and people are already looking to work with us to maintain their independence and have a best-in-class workflow. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. That's true. We do have a few BioOne publishers already working with Kriyadocs. And now I'm going to turn it over to Patrick Franzen of SPIE.
Awesome. Perfect. And hopefully people can see my screen. Yep. Awesome. So My name is Patrick Franzen. I am the Director of Publications and Platform for SPIE. We are probably the oddball in the group today, in that our focus is actually publishing. SPIE is a not-for-profit society. We were founded in 1955 to advance light-based technologies. We got a pretty big staff, over 190 people. 30 of those folks report through me in pubs, and we have a very large IT team of almost 70 people. We are a member society. We connect with about 24,000 members each year, and the constituency within SPIE, people who engage with us every couple of years, is over 250,000. We're a big events host, excuse me. We put on about 25 major conferences and events each year, and we are a big publisher. We've got over 630,000 publications at the moment, crossing journals, books, and proceedings. So in 2015, we made a pretty dramatic decision in that we were going to transfer our digital library platform from a third party to an in-house solution. The previous 15 years of SPIE, we'd used only third-party solutions, but we came to the realization that the needs of our community were probably best met internally. So we made the decision to building a digital library platform is no easy task. It's a pretty large investment, takes a lot of man hours. But we basically looked at three different areas when we made our decision. One was strategy. We wanted to own our user experience front to back. We also wanted to leverage our conference activity more effectively. We're one of the first platforms to integrate video. So we've got about 65,000 videos that are integrated into the platform in articles. We're one of the first platforms to introduce poster publishing as part of our corpus. So what we wanted to do is we looked at the entire breadth of SPIE and all the various activities we had, and wanted to create a platform that could kind of, create a seamless experience for end users. We knew we had the capability. We have a large technology team. We have some really strong in-house design expertise, and we made some really strong and large investments in technology already. And then the other reason for us was the economics. Our platform fee at this time was going up year over year. We were nearing, I think, $800,000 a year in spend. And we basically felt that we could make an investment of a similar level and basically own it and have this great asset on the back end. So we launched our platform in 2017. And in the ensuing years, we launched a couple more. So again, we are not a major platform provider. We are not an Accucoms, a Silverchair, some of the big commercials that you see out there. We are a niche platform provider that's focused on not-for-profit collaboration. So at the moment, we do maintain our own digital library platform site. So we have skin in the game. We can't divest from the platform because that basically kills our publishing business, and we don't want that to happen. We also host on behalf of BioOne. So all you BioOne publishers on there, if you're on the BioOne website, the team that manages that is actually in my office here in Bellingham. We work closely with BioOne to make that happen. And we manage Project Euclid, which is a statistics and mathematics platform that's run by Duke University Press. So at present, we host about 350 journals and more than 1,200 ebooks across the suite of platforms. So yeah, just quickly, what is our methodology? What is kind of our approach to platform development? We're very picky. We only work with not-for-profit organizations. We have no desire to work with commercial organizations. We like to work with fellow publishers. As a publisher, we have a lot of experiences. We've faced challenges. We have uncertainties about, business models or where the future is headed. And having a collaborative network of peers that are not competitive but cooperative, we have found to be incredibly rewarding. Again, we all three organizations share similar missions, goals, and challenges. Hopefully, we're introducing cost savings. I know we've seen cost savings. I believe the others have as well. And we do get together and share industry insights. So we don't look at our relationships with BioOne and Project Euclid as, say, client vendor. It's more collaborators or partners. And, we welcome other folks to join us on this journey. And I have one more last slide. And this is more on the tech side, but we are a Microsoft shop. SPIE is based about 100 miles north of Microsoft, so we're able to actually attract a lot of talent, people who are on the ground software developers at Microsoft. And our platform is actually built on Microsoft Dynamics CRM, which is not a traditional digital library platform, but is actually an enterprise-wide tech solution. And hopefully the screenshot's large enough for people to see. But if you look at all the little widgets in the boxes on the top, you'll see what are various departments within SPIE represented. So the CRM that powers our digital library actually powers almost all business activities within the society. So all of our accounting activities happen through Microsoft CRM. Our customer data is stored in CRM. We have information about our educational departments, our marketing departments, membership, exhibitions, and conferences. So what this allows us to do on the back end is synthesize an enormous amount of data into a unified customer journey. So we can look at these various ways that individuals or organizations are interacting with us and make informed decisions on improving customer experience, hopefully improving revenue. But again, it's just a very powerful set of tools that provides tremendous insight and data insights. Thanks. If you want to reach out, talk more about what we can do, there's my email. And yeah, pleasure seeing you guys today.
Thank you, Patrick. And now I'll turn it over to Krishna Shania from Molecular Connections.
Thank you, Meredith. Hello, everyone, and thank you for your time today. Let me try and bring my screen up. I hope everyone's able to see my screen. Okay, I'm Krishna from Molecular Connections. I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Molecular Connections. Quickly about who we are a 30-year-old organization. You must see established in 2001 and how 30 years. We've also acquired companies which are older than us, and that dates back our experience to 30 years, predominantly working with primary and secondary publishers. We are a global content solutions and data science company. Our approach is very, very consulting in nature, and we partner with most of the publishers in their digital transformation journey. We have a small investment from the Singapore government, but headquartered in India, in Bangalore. And we also have an innovation lab, which we set up in 2012, which looks at future-looking technologies and bringing that as a competitive advantage to our publishing customers in terms of cost saving or expediting their offerings in terms of speed to market. We are, as I mentioned, a focused content curation company. That's how the company started way back when Thomson was called Thomson and now Clarivate. We've seen the journey and the transformation from being paper documents to the digitally native publishers today. Back in the time, we would receive content from the likes of Thomson in floppy disks, and within 21 days, we would digitize it and send it back to Thomson in UK through cargoes. And that's from there to building cutting edge products. We've come a long way. We are about 3,000 people based in India, as I mentioned. This is broadly the split of the organization, about 950 health scientists and life scientists working together, and 650 chemists. We are the largest hirers of PhD folks in India, about 494 odd. We have about 150 data scientists and engineers and software developers. We have a very active and strong editorial support team, about 200 odd experts from different backgrounds, from life sciences to humanities to social sciences and so forth. The 50 million number that you see is the scale of content that we handle. And we built 30 odd ontologies, some bespoke ontologies for our publishers. And I'm going to talk more through some examples in the later slides. Here are some customer instances. As you can see, it is a mix of both large and smaller publishers and societies. Some really interesting work that we've done over the last 10 years for these projects. For example, with ACS and Chemical Abstract Service, we have this business relationship for 23 years now. So about 60% of their content is curated by Molecular Connections in India. With Kargar, we built a data-driven decision support system by bringing in all their journal content over the last, I don't know, since the start of the organization. And we've extracted the metadata and built several analytical dashboards from the editors to marketing team to the business and so forth. With IET, which is a society engineering publisher, their flagship product called Inspec Analytics was also built by Molecular Connections. And I'm happy to walk you all through these demos or working prototypes at a later date if this sparks your interest. I'm going to switch to these specific platforms, which I believe can be quite useful to BioOne Connect partners listening in today. The first one is on research integrity signals. We've been providing the service to both large and small publishers for some time now with the help of our SMEs. Now we've made this a platform service more powered by AI. Our research integrity platform brings precise accuracy to the manuscript review process, making it easier to quickly spot inaccuracies or fraudulent representation of research. There are about 200 odd checks that the team does. It's a combination of AI and human in the loop. About 75% of the checks get done automatically and about 25% with the human cognition. We also have a built-in feedback system which offers real-time insights with the platform, and which can help improve the quality of your content, citations, and overall integrity. This allows editors to focus, obviously, on the important aspects of publishing while we take care of the grunt work and ensuring there's ethical standards maintained in the publishing process. The second product that I would like to draw your attention to is the author or the editor ease, as I call. I've named it either author or editor because these can be installed author-facing or the editor-facing. It's a pre-flight checking tool. Basically, when the author tries to submit the manuscript, the platform automatically detects the scope of the journal that they're trying to submit to and make sure that the manuscript is organized in the right way, the references are in place, it follows the style guide, the language, the tone, and so on and so forth. And there are AI checks which automatically detect any sort of errors in this process and also fixes those errors, which is the biggest USP of author and the editor use here. And this can be seamlessly integrated into your workflow. Without any disruptions. We can either make it author-facing or the editor-facing. The next platform is author outreach. As Accucoms also, passingly mentioned, that they have the service on marketing and bringing authors, credible authors. We have a similar service, but this is targeted slightly towards smaller publishers who cannot invest heavy amounts into running marketing campaigns. There are two lenses to this. One is winning back authors who have published with you in the past, but for some reason are not coming back to you to publish. Or there is a special journal or an open access journal or a special topic where you want to bring in credible authors. We go to the open source platforms and we source these authors for you. And we work in close collaboration with your editorial teams in terms of commissioning an email template, which is branded, white labeled to suit your journal scope. And then we commission the emails on the publisher's behalf to the authors, asking them to come back and publish with your journal or the topic that is of interest. And it doesn't stop here. We also provide a very intuitive dashboard where editors or the marketing teams can view the engagement of the potential authors that you're inviting. What is the click-through? What has been the engagement? Have they actually responded back to the emails or not? What is the frequency of follow-ups that you intend to have? Everything is put together in a very transparent dashboard, which will be accessible to you. And the next platform is keyword recommendation system. This is very interesting again. This is a service which came as an idea from one of the small aeronautical publisher that we work with in DC, who said that they want to increase the engagement with the authors and how do we make them more inclusive in the process of metadata generation. So we devised this platform to make or empower authors to suggest keywords based on the topic of the topic of the manuscript that they are trying to submit. These keywords are coming from the thesaurus that the publisher owns, and we expose these keywords to the author, and they can pick and choose what keywords best match their manuscript. So the advantage of doing this is at the upstream process of the publishing itself, you have high quality metadata coming in all the way till the manuscript is live and published on your site. This can be easily integrated to any submission system. At the moment, we have Manuscript Manager and Scholar One submission system integrations already done. And if there is any other platform that you would like to explore and integrate, that can be done as well. Thesaurus development, like I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, we've built 30 plus taxonomies and ontologies for our publishing customers and also for our pharmaceutical customers. This could be a bespoke ontology, which is very, very customized to the content that you host. Or it could be derived from standards like MESH or ICD-9 or ICD-10, any publicly available ontologies. So we can build, maintain, host, and update ontologies for you. And the next piece is metadata generation and semantic enrichment. Our metadata generation and semantic enrichment tool automatically extracts and fingerprints the manuscript and brings in crucial information. It could be topics, it could be any entity of interest to you, collections, and we can drive recommendations for your end users. So we have worked on at least 30 odd projects just on metadata generation and making this SEO compliant and driving content discovery and recommendation for publishers. And the last piece that I would like to talk about is we are 300 odd data scientists and software developers put together. And mostly the engagement model is turnkey projects, or it could be on time and material basis. If you want any additional bandwidth in terms of having, maybe you find it very difficult to hire a data scientist in psychology, in the geography that you are residing in. Being in India, there is a cost advantage. And since we already have 300 developers, we are very happy to engage these resources to help you accelerate your development requirements. With that, it's very difficult to summarize everything that Molecular Connections does. So I've just picked these platforms that I believe can be quite beneficial to the audience listening in today. And I'm very happy to schedule a one-to-one demonstration of these platforms. If anyone's interested, please do drop me a note and we can connect offline. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Krishna. And last but not least, Paul Tonenberg from Global Campus.
Thank you, Meredith. Being the last, hopefully everyone is still energetic enough to bear with me. My name is Paul Tonenberg. I assume you can see my screen. I'm one of the founders of Global Campus, and we're building a platform to make it easier to find academic experts based on the output they're creating, their publications. And the main use case then obviously in this audience is to find peer reviewers. There are a few issues with the ways we're all currently searching for peer reviewers, because mostly the databases we're using are all similar. All sources come from the same databases, and all these databases help you to find relevant people based on keywords, whether put there by people or whether AI is helping to determine the most relevant concepts or keywords. But this all leads to finding the same peer review candidates. And more importantly, we're actually missing out on relevant results, because when we're using keywords as a starting point of finding relevant content, it means, and excuse me for the very simple example, I look at cat pictures, would lead in these traditional ways of searching to also finding results referring to cat scans, because the same words are used, even though conceptually these two things are totally different. And it would actually miss out on those sentences referring to feline photos, even though conceptually the same thing, but with the words used, it seems to be something totally different. And that's why we're taking a different approach. We're using AI semantic models to actually compare the meaning of a text with the meaning of the title and abstract of publications. So the title abstract of your manuscript is compared to the titles and abstracts we get from the publications. And the source we use for this is OpenAlex. Probably known, but for those of you that are not familiar with OpenAlex, it's definitely a platform worth looking into. It's totally open and transparent, so everyone can check the quality of the data, can contribute to the quality of the data, and can see what sort of decisions they made in order to build a set and maintaining the set. It's one of the largest sets, as you can see in the image on the right. Before it became OpenAlex, roughly 2.5 years ago, Microsoft Academic was basically the predecessor of this platform, and was compared in this 2001 study with Google Scholar and Dimensions in terms of the size of the corpus. And since then it only grew. As you can see, it's slightly bigger than Dimensions, which might be a more known source. And since OpenAlex started 2.5 years ago, it's not only used by us, but by dozens, maybe even hundreds of other startups and SMEs, but also increasingly by universities and national governments for all sorts of use cases. And for us, this is the source to provide you with relevant reviewers. We do this through two ways. Some people make the decision to use it in our web environment, which has the advantage to using the full force of all the user interface that we developed. But in other cases, through the API we provide, it can be seamlessly integrated in your existing workflows. And one of these integrations is, for instance, with the Kriyadocs, who was just presented by Jason. To give you a sneak peek on how it could look like, so hopefully it's clear to see for everyone. But in the top search bar, you see that an abstract is inserted. I actually use the highlighted publication from the BioOne website for this example. And you also see that some of the authors are inputted on the left on the conflict of interest checkbar. And I used two filters, one to only include peer-reviewed journals, and secondly to only search in the US and the Netherlands as countries where we want the peer reviews to be from. And then you can see that all the suggestions are there, including the publications that we base the match on, and the people that have a potential conflict are also highlighted because they co-authored in the past or shared an affiliation in the past or currently with one of the authors of this manuscript. And because we match on the basis of the publications, this is also potentially something that could be used to make the invitation a bit more personal, by not only stating that you're inviting someone for peer review, but actually also referring to the actual publications that led to us thinking that would be a good match to actually show that we know what they have contributed to in the past. And we provide all sorts of filters that I'm happy to dive into at a later point. Some visualizations about the expertise of the authors, but also a way to improve your results by steering the matchmaking algorithms by highlighting which of the results you like most. You can do this either on the level of the publications to say like, this is a really good publication in line with the manuscript. Let's put it in what we call our collection, and you can do the same for the potential peer reviewers. And these collections can be used to get into your submission system, to go to the invitation workflow, or you can use this collection to improve the results, to find more results in line with the results that you already liked. And a different representation of the results. If you're maybe more visually oriented person, instead of a list, you could also navigate through the network of the people recommended as an expert in the field, and then seeing who co-authored with whom, also what are the most important topics for these people, or expand the network if you want to include more people in this specific network overview. This was a very quick run through of what we do. So if you're interested in learning more, please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to give you a demo and talk a bit more about the current struggle for finding relevant peer reviewers. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. We did get one question that I have, it's been answered, but I will pose it to the group as well. Each of these services has components that can deepen the connection to researchers, whether they are wearing the hat of an author, conference attendee, member, or peer reviewer. Can anyone speak about how you see the relationship between researchers and their society publisher partners changing, and how your services are designed to address those changes? And I know, Jason, you've already answered as well. And if anyone else would like to also answer, feel free.
I just thought that given how croaky my voice is, given I'm suffering from post-Frankfurt flu, I'd be better typing than speaking on this occasion.
No, perfect. And I'll read your response as well for the recording. From a Kriyadocs perspective, we appreciate that society publishers are looking for a more holistic relationship with their researchers. We are developing a researcher dashboard, which enables someone using the Kriyadocs platform to see the relationship with that publisher as an author, reviewer, and or editor. This should be live in early 2025. Anyone else?
I might jump quickly. Sorry, before we go ahead. No.
So, thank you. So I just wanted to add, like, from a marketing point of view, what we are seeing and what has really worked well for us connecting with authors is using LinkedIn groups, especially posting articles and resources from your journals, which then starts a conversation. And we've seen a lot of traction in those groups. You know, the team are probably part of many different groups, from geosciences to, you know, biology to chemistry. And it's just starting conversations with authors and posting resources, which we think really helps to kind of then talk about submissions and the journal and all the other things, all the other marketing things that we would want to connect the author to.
I might jump quickly before someone else jumps in. So here's a statistic that'll knock your socks off. 37% of all conference content ends up in a journal within 2 years. And it sort of makes sense, really, because the conference community is the social network of your community. It's the physical embodiment of your community coming together. And oftentimes conferences are left out of the conversation when it comes to publishing, and particularly into journals. But the crucial role that they play, and we should always remember that, is that without an audience, without a community, we are nothing. And the conference is that community. And so essentially, by using conferences and digitizing conferences the best way that you can, you start to feed a pipeline, if we want to call it that, of authors, of future journal writers, and a pipeline for those journal articles eventually. So bear that in mind. And I think the way it's changing is the old model of membership fees, I think, is dead. I don't think it adds a huge amount of value, and I think it's only a matter of time we're going to see those continue to drop. I think the real value that we can provide our members is to think as if we were Netflix, and we need to provide monthly value to them, almost to the point where they'd be willing to subscribe for that value. And one of the ways I think we can do that is by providing them in very much like what we're doing right now, a webinar of bringing value to you, that we need to see ourselves as the guardians of that content and find ways of engaging with our audience through in-person, online meetings so that we retain that connection. And I think that eventually will replace the membership fee. So food for thought.
So as a member society publisher, timing of the question's good. I think it's about the story you tell. And the way I say that, even with membership, if you provide a clear member journey and make the ROI, obvious to them, I think you actually will still see member fees being paid. They might not be the same rates, right? They might look different, but I think there'll always be some sort of member fee there. It's funny. I'll be at a university in 2 days talking to faculty and students who are close with SPIE about why they should be involved with SPIE. And what we talk a lot about is investment. Whether it's money or time, where do you want to volunteer your time or spend your money? And if you belong to a member society or a student chapter, and you're trying to figure out where you want to publish a manuscript, or more importantly, in our case, and I think most publishers right now, it's where do you spend your time peer reviewing? Make an investment back in the organization you belong to. You belong to it for a reason. You don't just spend $150 on a membership fee, arbitrarily, right? You're making a conscious decision. So when you think about where you're spending your time or where you're submitting your work, think about those other factors. In our case, we don't necessarily want to dissuade them from publishing with another engineering or physics society. We want to dissuade them from publishing with the big commercials. So we tell that story that, an investment in a society publisher is an investment back in your community, where an investment as in the form of a publication with a commercial publisher helps their stockholders and their shareholders hit a financial target. And I think that's one of the most effective things you can do, is make sure you open people's eyes to the business of publishing, and try to encourage them to think with their heart more than they might necessarily do.
Thank you. Anyone else? I see you typing, Paul too.
Yeah, so maybe it's easier to just tell, right? So this was for us also one of the reasons to start building Global Campus, because we noticed from colleagues and friends and partners that they're getting such strange invitations for peer review from totally different fields. And when started talking to publishers, we also noticed that the amount of emails they had to send out to sort of random people in order to get enough peer reviews is growing and growing. What we currently see with our customers and also in pilots is that we can bring this number down by a lot, because we make sure to match on the content, right? To make sure that at least when you start an engagement with a researcher, that at least it makes sense in terms of that the expertise is indeed in line with the manuscripts. And we're considering a lot, or working a lot and talking a lot to these publishers, like to what extent can we even enrich this to get a real conversation with the researchers in your community, to, for instance, not invite people that you have been inviting in the last month, for instance, and use all these sort of extra metadata that the publisher or a society already has in the recommendations that we give.
Yeah. Paul, good point. I just wanted to add to that. In fact, transparency in the peer review process is something that has been long spoken about. As we speak, we are building an open cloud review platform, which I would be very happy to present to all the BioOne Connect members very shortly. The idea here is also to bring in openness in terms of why we are recommending someone as a reviewer, and make the whole process as transparent as possible. So maybe in a couple of months we should have another webinar just to talk through this.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Those were great answers. And just want to thank you all again. I'm so impressed by the plethora of services to enhance the experiences and support our publishers. So thank you all for making the time to come and share your presentations with us. Just a reminder, we will share this recording after the webinar and all of the slides. So thank you all again for joining, and hope you all have a great day or evening.
Thanks, Meredith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.